connectivity problems this morning. I had to pull over and reboot. Ironically, I'm driving past a very long line of Chevy Silverado EVs that are for sale and aren't moving off of lots. And that's probably a perfect transition to this discussion. We wake up on a Tuesday after the inauguration and a bunch of executive orders being signed. And one of them was supposedly killing off the Biden administration's EV mandate. And all of a sudden, X blew up last night. I found out that a lot of the people that we follow on X are actually pretty political, because they were throwing a ton of opinions out and saying things like, well, there was no EV mandate, so there was nothing to kill, and things like nobody's trying to take away your choice in the market. And so I thought, first off, this is not a political channel. Okay, we're not going to talk political opinions. We're not going to do it on our social media accounts. But we did think it's worth spending some time talking about what's true and what's not true here, okay, in the EV space, because we spend a lot of time talking about it. First off, though, we want everybody to be able to buy what they want to be able to buy. We love V8s, we love straight sixes, and we love EVs. And we enjoy all of those. We are in the middle of reviewing the Dodge Durango RT with 5.7 liter V8 in it. I'm driving Casey's Lexus 570 today because it's got a phone mount and it's quiet for this with a V8, okay? But we also have EVs in the garage. So back to the question. Did Trump kill the EV mandate? Technically, no. For all intents and purposes, he's probably about halfway there, okay? So first off, was there an EV mandate? Technically, no, okay? Back in 2021, Joe Biden signed an executive order setting a sales target for 2030 that 50% of all light-duty vehicles in the U.S. Sold would be EVs. It was a target. It was not legally binding, okay? That is what people are referring to as the EV mandate. But like I said, not legally binding. It set a sales target, and all the U.S. Auto manufacturers sort of signed up and said, yep, and shook hands and said, we're all going to go after this. Which is, of course, that's what they're going to do. They're going to say yes, as long as everybody's holding hands and saying the same thing, and they're working with the administration, they're going to go along with it. Now, where effectively it became an EV mandate occurred last May 2024, when the new EPA guidelines for emissions from vehicles went into effect for future emission levels. By 2032, cutting these things by a tremendous amount. It was over 50% of carbon emission, greenhouse emission gas levels from cars. Based on several different sources, what that meant was depending on which category car you're looking at, between 30 and 60% of all cars sold in the US would have to be EV in order to comply with the emission standards. Okay, so effectively between these two, this executive order and these regulations, there was an EV mandate. Anybody telling you that there wasn't is being very disingenuous. Okay, and there are certain states, California, for example, I think there's 14 additional states that signed up for to basically adopt California's emissions. They are absolutely trying to dictate what it is that you drive in the future. 100%. They're not even trying to hide that. So I don't know why we're sitting here arguing over it and people are saying, oh, nobody wants to take away your right to drive what you want to drive. They absolutely do. Now, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I'll leave that for you guys to decide. I'm sure you're going to hash it out in the comments. But yeah, governments and lobbying agencies are definitely trying to influence what you buy in the open marketplace. Now, it's a really interesting time for all this change to happen because the marketplace is absolutely pushing back in the US. And those Silverados are sitting there unsold. The prices on them are starting to come down quite a bit. You're starting to see more attractive leases on these. Cybertrucks are sitting on the lot. There's definitely pushback. People are saying, we're not ready for this. We don't want to go to this. We need something in between, or we want to drive what we want to drive. I found it, pretty interesting. this weekend, holiday weekend, we're driving back this Durango on a long road trip, doing a road review of it. And Tim Kaniskis is in Detroit getting peppered with questions at the Detroit Auto Show about bringing V8s back to the pickup trucks and back to SUVs. The media is now starting to echo what the market is echoing, saying, we want choice. We want to be able to drive what we want to drive. And you, Mr. Auto Manufacturer, you need to make it happen. Why can't you make it happen? Well, there's a million reasons that it's not going to happen. Now, Tim wants it to happen. He's very openly saying that. All right, but things have been set in motion. Manufacturing has shifted. Engineering resources have been deployed to electrification. Now, yes, they have this V8 sitting over here on the shelf and out in other products, but you can't just dump it into a Durango, a Ram 1500 overnight. That whole platform, the new 25 Ram 1500, was designed around an entirely new architecture, electrical architecture, and you can't just drop that V8 in it. It wasn't engineered for it. So those things are going to take some time. And, this is one of the pitfalls of the regulatory environment changing every 4 to 8 years. And these manufacturers are trying to do long-term planning and meet the market and meet regulatory environment. That's really hard. And on top of the things already mentioned, you have union contracts that dictate what is built and where, okay, and when. I think that's one of the reasons you see those Silverados sitting back there instead of Tahoes. I think EV Tahoes with 400 plus miles of range would sell like hotcakes in urban America, suburban families. Pickup trucks need to be pickup trucks. And in the EV space, that's a really tough sell, okay? So, I think the auto industry is going to be in a really tough spot. It's why you're seeing so much focus, both publicly from some companies, behind the scenes with others, around extended range hybrids. And we spend a lot of time talking about that. The market is saying that's the solution they want. If they're going to go electric, they want the assurance that they're going to be able to do their road trips or do longer range driving and not have to worry about charging. And I will tell you, we just did a 1,400 mile road trip in that Durango, and screaming across West Texas and New Mexico, charging infrastructure is still just not where it needs to be. Now, if there's one thing I'm really concerned about here, it is investment in the charging network, because that is the secret to unlocking long-term electrification. And I do think we need to get there eventually, okay? I want people to be able to buy what they want to buy, but I do think we need to get there. And the EV network needs to be invested in. We need to continue to see charging stations pop up so that people can wrap their head around the idea of driving to Colorado and back over a day and a half and not having to think about it, okay? And we've said it before, as solid state batteries come along and charging speeds go up and a 30-minute stop turns into a 10-minute stop, perfect. Okay, if we've got the charging infrastructure to support it, we got the battery chemistry to do it, I'm telling you, you guys will go EV, because those products, if done right, they're better. They're awesome, okay? They're faster. They're quieter. They've got incredible technology in them. As long as we can replace that fill-up experience with a recharge experience that's on par or even better, you guys are going to love it. And, my wife's perfect testament to that. We took her, she had an EV, we took her out of one back into a traditional ICE. She's begging for that EV back on a daily basis because it's just such a better experience. I think that's about it, guys. I just wanted to come back and dispel a little bit of a myth. Effectively, yes, the Trump administration took a significant step yesterday in ending an EV mandate, but it's just the first step. I think you're going to see more around the emission standards. And if they do change the 2032 goals, then you're going to see a dramatic shift with automakers and what they push out to the US market, for better or worse. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Really looking forward to reading the comments, and I'm almost to work, so I'm going to cut this out. Subscribe to the channel, guys. We'll have a lot more on all of this, EVs, V8s, everything you can think of coming up soon. So talk to you later.